Hello, welcome to the 24 in 2024. Have I finished at this point of me filming by 23 in 2023? No. I'm very behind. That's fine. We don't need to talk about it. I wrote this list out, maybe a whole month ago. At the latest, possibly maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't know. It was around the time that my computer charger first broke. So it's fine. So there's a chance I may have to look up some of the books again to remember what they are. But for that, there will be weird cuts and me going on my beautiful iPad. I got some physical books. I got them categorized in sections. Just all around good times. I think the first section that makes sense would be Tomiko into the 4 books by authors that I've read before. That they have new books coming out next year and I want to read them. I mean, there's a lot of those, like Mason Deaver's newest book, whichever one comes out next year, obviously gonna want to read that, and a bunch of others, but these are like the ones where I would probably read anyways, immediately as soon as they come out because I want to, and this is me reminding me that they're coming out. Otherwise I will forget. First one is Icarus by K. Ankrum. Honestly, the chances of me actually forgetting that this is going to come out based on the fact that Stingray is obsessed with K. Ankrum and reminds me. Anyways, very excited. I obviously want to read it as soon as it comes out, as soon as possible for me. Otherworldly by F.T. Lukens. I've read every F.T. Lukens so far, in the vein that they've been releasing recently, right? In Deeper Waters, one of my favorite books ever, and I own 2 of them. I want to buy the 3rd one. There's a good chance I'm going to want to buy the 4th one as well. I think there's wizardry stuff in it. I don't remember. What Feast at Night by T. Kingfisher. I think that's the sequel to the one with the hair on the... I say hair because it's called a hair in the book, but the rabbit on the cover. What Moves the Dead. There we go. The first T. Kingfisher I read. Hopefully if I finish my 23 by 2023, I will have read another one. But like, but it's gonna be shorter, and also like, I didn't know that one was coming out until like a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I gotta immediately put that on the list. And then one that I keep on forgetting is gonna be a thing January next year, and I'm so excited for. The way that I wrote the author's name is so weird. Why is there an R in Gabe? Am I okay? But anyways, it is the Gabe, I can't speak words, Gabe Cole Navoa. I read The Wicked Bargain this year, liked it. I'm hoping there's gonna be a sequel, we'll see. But there's a bunch of remixes of classics I've seen. I think it's part of the same series that I've read from before, or maybe not. I don't know. But it's like kind of become a thing to make classics more inclusive and remix them. And Gabe Cole Navoa is writing a Pride and Prejudice one. I think there's a train mask character in it. And you're telling me I'm not gonna immediately read that? No, as soon as that shit comes out, I am picking it up. No one can stop me. Okay? I am counting down the days. I literally, when I learned about this book, I literally told multiple people, I have to make sure I live long enough to read this goddamn book. It's my new will to live. Okay? Like, obviously, I also forgot about it for this list. I put something down in one of the other categories, this continuing series category, and I was like, oh shit, no, I need to put that one. So I erased one of those and put it there. That's new books in that are coming out next year. The continuing series. Me. I suck at it. This was before I decided to change how I'm going to do my fishing series vlogs, where instead of trying to finish one series in a vlog, it's me for a week just continuing series that I've been reading. So like, I can read middle books in series, I can read the last books in series, I can read a historical romance and then take a break and read a fantasy romance or just a fantasy and just like mix and... So I'm not just like reading like 3 or 4 romances of the same genre by the same person, kind of feeling repetitive in that same week, right? So like, before I decided to change it up, there was an issue where I had a lot of books that had like, a lot of series that had one book left. And I'm like, I need to finish those series. That'd be great. So to make sure that I did that, I put some on my 24 and 2024. The first one being Southern Sun, Northern Star. I kind of hate the name, and I'll explain it. I have the first two books in the series through this door. Dark of the West and Storm of the East, I believe. And I liked the first one fine enough. If I did half-star ratings back then, I think it would have been a 3.5, and the second one a 3. It's fine. It took way too long for the main character to realize things. Or to even for anyone to tell her the truth about their identity. Hear me out. Or something I don't like. Now, I wish it was 4 books in the series instead of 3, and that's why I hate the name, because then it could be Southern Sun, and then the next book could be Northern Star instead of 2 in the one title. But I've been reading the series since around 2020, 2021. I've been reading it too long. Okay, I need to finish it. Similar vein, the last book in the Gentleman's Guide series. I don't remember the whole entire series. Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. There we go. Read the first one, kind of liked it. I think I gave it 4 stars. Read the novella, liked it. I think I gave it 3 or 4 stars. Read the second book, The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. It's literally on the pile on whole pile you're on. It was fine. I didn't like it as much. And so I've been postponing reading the last one forever. I've decided I'm going to do it by putting it on this list. The Nobleman's Guide to Scandal and Shipwrecks. I think it takes place many years after the rest of the series. So that like the third sibling can be grown up, because I think he was like just born around the time of the first or second one. So, you know, good times. Then I'll finally finish that series and just move on. This Wicked Fate is the second book in the duology of This Poisoned Heart. Is that the name of it? By Caitlin Barron. I loved the first book. So good. I just keep on pushing aside reading the sequel because it's a duology, so it's the last book in the series, and I have other things that I have to read, and so I can't like put it into a vlog, yeah, blah blah blah. But I really want to read it, right? The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I forgot that was becoming a movie. Like, it's out in theaters right now. In my defense, I knew around December this year, so right now, and beginning of next year, Stingray and their best friend are doing a buddy read of the Hunger Games series, and I think they were going to read the prequel then. And like with the Percy Jackson buddy read thing, which I am very behind, I have decided to shoehorn myself into that buddy read as well. I mean, I've had the urge to, like, why wouldn't I read Hunger Games? Like, right? So, like, seems fitting. And then I'll finally pick up the prequel, right? And so I put it on there so I remember to actually read it. Hello. And then I forget what the first book is called, but it's also another duology. I think the author is J.L. Ashes of Gold. I really liked the first one. I think I read it in like 24 hours. It was like one of those times where Simon Teen has like every day of the holidays, they have a book for free you can read online for the whole entire day. And like, it's supposed to be this thing where like you read the first 2 chapters and then you see if you like it and then you buy it type thing. But then I used it as like, I read whole entire books, right? Like, that's how I read In Deeper Waters for the first time. So, you know, and the first book in the series, that's how I did that. I think it was in 2021, maybe 2020. One of the two. But I really liked it. And I just never remember to pick up the sequel. So by putting it on this list, I remember to put on my sequel. Can I kind of see my writing of what the one that I erased was and switched with the Pride and Prejudice remix? Yes, it was the sequels to Crave. Hell yeah, go me. I guess next up I'll do the physical books because they're right here. I'm going to do them in a different order that they're written down on because they're standing in a pile. I've read 2 Alice Hoffmans. I threw away, there's a few here that are in my most recent haul right? I threw away the dust jacket for this because it was bent weird and all this stuff. And I hated the texture. Oh my god. And so I was like, if I end up wanting another dust jacket cover, my mom will literally make me one. She's made some for me this year already. So, right, but it's The Marriage of Opposites. I've read 2 Alice Hoffmans. One of them I reread this year alone. I really liked one of them. I kind of like the other one. I think I really like her writing. So like it makes sense to read the one that I own now, right? Next up, same haul. We have East of Eden. I do like to read a few classics and nonfiction by putting them on the list. Because I do try to read like 12 of each year. I don't know if I'm gonna do that in 2024 because it's a lot. And whatnot, but that's why I make sure that I'm like at least reading a few. This one I recently bought. I'm really intrigued by it. I want to read it. Is there any other thing to say? I think this is the one that's like kind of like a retelling of Cain and Abel and all that fun stuff. It's 2 families in California, Sabina Valley, being a retelling of Cain and Abel. And good times. I'm assuming it's gonna break my heart some way somehow. Now, am I 23 in 2023? I put War and Peace. Oddly enough, that is not one of the books that I have to read still, because I read it and I enjoyed it too much, to the point where like I spent a good chunk of time every used bookstore I was at and whatnot. I was trying to find War and Peace, and I could not. But another book by Leo Tolstoy that I really wanted to read. Very much seems my vibe, especially since Keira Knightley plays the main character in the adaptation that I'm pretty sure is also directed by Joe Wright. You know, the director of my favorite adaptation, Pride and Prejudice, that I've watched like a dozen times this year. Anna Karenina. I don't know how to pronounce it. I know this one is about her. There's like, she starts having an affair with this guy, and then people find out, and it's about love and where you find love and relationships and whatnot. The way he writes characters and how they're all interconnected, I love it, and this very much seems more of that, of what I read in War and Peace. So like, makes sense. Of course I found it, I spent like no money on it. So like, I'm very excited. The text size is kind of small. And we're just gonna pray for me. It's a chunker. 736 pages. Okay, this is gonna have to be a thing probably where I read like a chapter a day at least type thing. Kind of like how with War and Peace I did like listening to at least an hour every day, and then by the end of the book month, because I knew it was like 28 hours or something, I would for sure be done with it. And you know, we know how that turned out by me reading half of it in like one day. A similar vein of classics, not the whole thing. Don't worry. This is my collection of like all of them. I at this point have read Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, and Northanger Abbey. I do know I'm going to read Emma in January, but I have been wanting to read Persuasion since that horrible Netflix adaptation that I just knew her name. It was just in my head from 50 Shades of Grey. We all know her. Goodness gracious, am I gonna have to look up her name? That Dakota Johnson freaking carried, okay? She carried that movie. In my opinion, she had to act across a piece of cardboard. So, and then I've also heard about how the comedy is used in it is very much against what Jane Austen would want based off of the book, and how the book's so much better and all this stuff. And I'm like, cool, I'll read the book. I've wanted to read it since then because like the story itself intrigues me. I really think I could like it if it was well done. So here we go. I'm putting it on the list so I actually sit down and read it. Starry Eyes, a book that's been on my shelves for like 3 years. It's, I think, YA contemporary. There's camping. 2 people haven't talked to each other in a bit, but used to be like best friends, and they're in the woods together. And so they are forced to talk. I think it's been like 3 years, but I'm gonna finally read it. It's been on my shelves for so long. It's very floppy, and I love it. Children of Time. Okay, this one has been on my shelves for I think around the same amount of time. This one's not as floppy. That's the wrong side. Not as floppy. But I just read 172 Hours on the Moon. This tells you how far ahead I'm filming this. Which is a space thriller or whatnot, horror set on the moon. And I loved it. And I've heard a lot of great things about it. About this one. I remember none of it. But I don't, like, people I trust for fantasy and sci-fi recommendations have recommended this. The only thing I remember them saying is giant space spiders, which I loved. I know there's a sequel. I know almost nothing else about this book, but like, based on the fact that one of my favorites this year is a space horror thriller, why not read the other one on my shelves, right? And then last one, this one's also very floppy, is Gardens of the Moon. I know basically nothing about this. This is a fantasy. I am pretty sure a person who I'm not friends with anymore bought this for me years ago. And I never picked it up because the text size is so small. The book's so thick. Like, it's nearly 500 pages. And then it goes into, like, it's 488 pages, and then there's a glossary. The only glossaries I want to read are Rick Riordan's. Thank you very much. Anyways, I decided it's time I finally pick it up and read it. Because after he gifted it to me, I looked into it and did see that, like, it's kind of a popular book. I haven't heard anyone ever talk about it, but, like, it's a well-known and highly liked, as far as I know, book / series. And so, why not give it a try? I guess it's already on my shelves and it's taking up so much space, and it's so tall that it has to go on the tallest shelf on my bookshelf, which means it's taking up space on the most requested space on my bookshelf. Like, I have a lot of tall books. But yeah, those are the physical ones. Set that there, I guess. Okay, and then we can go into the last ones, which are just random books that I want to read for different reasons. We have Cinder. Stingray has been trying to talk me into reading this book for forever. I've always wanted to read it. The whole entire series is just something that I haven't picked up yet. And so in order to force myself to actually pick it up, I put it on the list. Because I want to. I just keep on forgetting that I want to. Then we have Crying in H Mart. I have 2 nonfictions on the list. This is one of them. Some people that I'm friends with on Goodreads and whatnot have read it and really like it, and so I figured, why not pick it up? I already have access to the audiobook. Like, why have I not picked it up already? It's been something on my TBR for a good few years. Page Boy, I'm a big fan of Elliot Page. I've seen a lot of his stuff. I think the first time I saw him was maybe the X-Men movies. Yeah. But I also love the Umbrella Academy and whatnot. So it just seems like my speed of type of book. And of course I would read it. The Shattered Lands, if I remember properly, this one is a fantasy romance. I don't know if it's YA or not, but it's also gay. It's also gay. And, like, of course I gotta read it. So, you know, good times. That's about all I remember about it. The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I've heard a lot of people who I trust and whatnot talk about this book recently. And I want to join the hype. Okay, it looks very interesting. It seems like my type of book. I want to read it, so I put it on the list so I remember to read it. The Good House. I think so. I've like gone into the urge to read haunted house type stories recently, and so I remembered like having to stop myself from just putting down a lot of haunted house type stories. Okay, so I think this is like one that I was like, okay, you can put one and I'll put this one down. Okay. Where Darkness Blooms. I think this is it YA horror? It is YA horror. From what I can understand, it is about this 3 girls who are friends, and secrets are coming out, people are missing and whatnot. It seemed my type of speed. I love how I write it down before I started questioning whether or not YA horror is for me. The answer is yes if it's done well. That seems obvious, but like, we know me. So, you know, that's one I can, like, every time I think about it, I can vividly picture the cover with the sunflowers. Beautiful. And then the Book of Cold Cases. This is the one that is by Simone St. James. I read one of her books this year. The Broken Girls was the one I read this year. And I really liked it, like rated it 5 stars. I am 100% sure it is the book that ended the vlog where I read books until I read a 5-star. Right? So it like makes sense. I've always like saw the books and whatnot, and just like never picked them up. I was like, they're not my speed, never read anything about them. But now I'm like, okay, I should like read more of her work. And in theme, to make sure I actually do that, I put on the list, the end. It seems like the one after the Broken Girls I would most likely enjoy at this moment in time, so that's why I chose that one in particular. And that is it, I believe. But yeah, that is it for this. I do not know the order after this. Honestly, I'm filming things out of order, so there should be a video where I talk about my biggest surprises and disappointments of the year. There should be one is my 10 favorites of the year. Spoiler alert. Blood marked. Which is gonna be interesting, because there were months where I read multiple favorites, but there were also months where I read no favorites except for rereads, and I'm not counting those. So like, that's gonna be interesting. I don't know the order of those two and this one, so like, they may already be out. They may be out soon on Wednesdays. Saturday's normal vlog, and I will see you in the next video.